Have you ever noticed how some people seem to age faster than others? They are the same age, but one looks and feels 10 years younger. A big part of that comes down to what they eat, and more specifically, the kinds of meat they put on their plate. If you're over 60 and you really care about your health, there are certain meats that can quietly speed up aging, harm your heart, your kidneys, and even raise your risk for cancer. Most people eat these without thinking twice. Today, I want to show you 3 meats seniors should avoid and why cutting them out could not only help you live longer, but feel better every day. Let's start with the worst one, processed meats. And when I say processed, I'm talking about things like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, ham, salami, corned beef, beef jerky, and most deli or cold cuts. Even that smoked turkey from the supermarket counts if it has been cured or preserved with chemicals. Now, here's what makes processed meat so concerning, especially for older adults. Most of them contain a combination of nitrates, high levels of salt, and chemical preservatives that are used to improve shelf life and enhance flavor. The problem is, once these compounds enter your body, they can react during digestion and form substances called nitrosamines. These are known to damage cells and are linked to several cancers, especially colorectal cancer. The amount of sodium in these meats is extremely high, and for seniors who are already at higher risk for high blood pressure, that added salt can quickly lead to complications like heart disease, stroke, and kidney strain. In fact, too much sodium makes it harder for your kidneys to maintain the right balance of fluids, which can eventually worsen kidney function. There is also the inflammatory aspect. These meats are loaded with ingredients that trigger chronic low-grade inflammation in the body. And inflammation is not just a buzzword. It is the root of many age-related diseases, from arthritis and memory loss to clogged arteries and even type 2 diabetes. I know processed meats can be convenient. They are tasty. You do not need to cook them for long, and they are easy to grab when you are in a rush. But with time, eating them regularly adds up. A large study from Harvard followed over 100,000 people for decades and found that those who ate just one serving of processed meat a day had a significantly higher risk of heart disease and early death. Just one serving a day. That is one sausage, a few slices of bacon, or one ham sandwich. If you're over 60, your body is more sensitive to this kind of stress. The blood vessels are not as flexible, the kidneys are not as strong, and the ability to flush out toxins slows down. So what might not have harmed you in your 30s or 40s can become much more dangerous now. And don't let us forget about gut health. These processed meats can disrupt the healthy bacteria in your gut, especially when eaten often. And that can affect everything from digestion to your immune system, and even your mood and brain health. So what can you do instead? If you love the flavor of cured meats, try finding nitrate-free or low-sodium versions, and keep them as an occasional treat rather than a regular habit. Better yet, swap your sandwich filling with things like grilled chicken breast, avocado, hummus, or even hard-boiled eggs if your cholesterol is under control. The idea is to reduce how often these meats appear in your meals. The less frequently you eat them, the more room you make for foods that protect your body instead of harming it. If you're already getting value from this video, then I encourage you to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest content. And also, don't forget to like and share the video. The second meat to be careful with is red meat. This includes beef, lamb, pork, and goat. I know this one can be difficult because red meat is tied to tradition, comfort, and family meals. But know this, as we grow older, how our body handles red meat changes significantly. First, red meat is higher in saturated fat than poultry or plant-based proteins. Saturated fat can raise the level of low-density lipoprotein cholesterol in the blood. When this happens over time, fatty deposits can build up in the arteries, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. For seniors who may already be managing blood pressure or diabetes, This added burden can push the cardiovascular system towards serious problems. There's also the issue of how red meat is cooked. When it is grilled or fried at high heat, it creates harmful substances during the cooking process. These include compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These substances are formed when fat drips onto a hot surface, creating smoke that sticks to the meat. The more the meat is charred or burnt, the more of these harmful substances you are likely consuming. These compounds have been linked to an increased risk of certain types of cancer, especially cancer in the colon and pancreas. Another thing about red meat is that it increases the workload on the kidneys. It contains a high amount of protein and compounds like creatinine, which the kidneys must filter. For someone with healthy kidneys, that may not be a big deal. But for someone over the age of 60, where kidney function may already be declining without obvious symptoms, this can lead to long-term damage. You may feel fine, but behind the scenes your kidneys could be struggling. There's another issue many people are not aware of. When red meat is digested, it increases production of a substance called trimethylamine N-oxide. This substance is linked to inflammation inside blood vessels, and it contributes to the hardening of arteries and the formation of blood clots. Scientists are learning more about this connection, and while the research is ongoing, the pattern is clear enough to be taken seriously. So what should you do? I'm not saying you should give up on red meat completely, but portion control and frequency matter. Try to limit it to once a week or less. When you do eat red meat, choose lean cuts, avoid charring, and cook it gently. Roasting or slow cooking is a safer option than high heat grilling. Make sure to balance it with foods that help reduce inflammation and support heart health. Include more vegetables, fruits, legumes, and healthy fats like those from olive oil or fish, such as salmon and sardines. Aging well is not just about what you stop eating. It is also about what you replace those foods with. When you reduce red meat and include healthier proteins, you give your heart, kidneys, and digestion a better chance to stay strong as the years go on. The third type of meat older adults should be cautious with is organ meat. These include liver, kidney, heart, brain, and other internal part of animals that are often praised for being nutrient-dense. It is true that organ meats contain many important nutrients. Liver, for example, is high in iron, vitamin A, vitamin B12, and folate. Kidney and heart are rich in protein and other essential minerals. In small amounts, these foods can have some nutritional value. But the problem is that for seniors, the risks of eating organ meats often outweigh the benefits, especially when they're consumed regularly or in large portions. The first issue is purines. Organ meats contain high levels of purines, which are broken down in the body and turned into uric acid. When too much uric acid builds up in the blood, it can lead to a condition called gout. Gout causes sudden, intense pain, often in the big toe or other joints, and becomes more common with age. It is not only painful, but also a sign that the kidneys are struggling to remove waste effectively. Seniors who already have reduced kidney function are especially vulnerable to this buildup. The second concern is cholesterol. Organ meats are extremely high in dietary cholesterol. For example, a single serving of beef liver can contain more than 300 milligrams of cholesterol. That is more than most people need in an entire day. Now, dietary cholesterol does not affect everyone the same way, but for older adults who have a history of heart disease, high blood pressure, or metabolic conditions like diabetes, eating foods that are this concentrated in cholesterol can contribute to artery damage and increase cardiovascular risk. Another important thing to consider is the toxicity potential. Organs like the liver and kidneys are filtering organs. Their job in the animal is to process waste and toxins. While they do not store toxins in the way some people assume, they do contain higher concentrations of certain compounds that may not be ideal in large amounts, especially for people with a weakened detoxification system. Seniors may not process excess vitamin A, iron, or other fat-soluble nutrients as efficiently, and this can actually lead to harmful buildup over time. Too much vitamin A from organ meat, for example, can cause symptoms like headaches, joint pain, liver strain, or even bone thinning. And unlike water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C, which the body can flush out, fat-soluble vitamins stay in the body much longer and can reach toxic levels if taken in too frequently. There is also a concern about food safety. Organ meats can spoil faster, are more sensitive to improper handling, and are more likely to contain harmful bacteria or parasites if not cooked properly. For older adults with weakened immune systems, that adds another layer of risk. As a senior, if you enjoy the occasional piece of liver or kidney, it is best to treat it as an occasional meal, not a regular part of your weekly diet. Think of it more like a supplement than a staple food. If you are eating organ meats more than once a week, or in large portions, it is worth reconsidering. For those who are looking for iron or vitamin B-rich foods, there are safer alternatives. Lean poultry, legumes, leafy greens, and fortified cereals can provide many of the same benefits without the added risk of uric acid, cholesterol, or vitamin toxicity. Aging does not mean you have to stop enjoying food, but it does mean being more intentional can go a long way in protecting your health. Your body needs support, not stress. Choosing cleaner, simpler proteins helps take pressure off your heart, kidneys, and joints so you can stay active and independent for longer. For any senior trying to live a healthy life, try lean proteins that are easier on the heart and kidneys. Things like wild salmon, sardines, or plant-based proteins like lentils and tofu if you tolerate them well. Even pasture-raised chicken and turkey in moderation are much safer choices. The goal is not to cut out meat entirely unless you want to. It is to be smart about the type and the portion, especially as you age. The body is more sensitive now than it was in your 30s or 40s. Your food choices can either speed up aging or slow it down. Every bite is a message to your body, either to heal or to break down. Take care of yourself. Your future self will thank you for the small choices you make today. If this video helped you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who could use it too. And of course, subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.